Hi everyone, I'm Niccolò from Leone High School here in Milan. I've been participating to this exchange program with Johnathan and Hayden from Washington DC, where I've been in fall in 2023. And today we're going to talk about how the American elections work. So the presidential electoral system of the United States functions through the Electoral College. This system was established by the United States Constitution and operates uniquely compared to other countries that use a direct popular vote system. So if we go into detail, we have the allocation of electoral votes. So in each state in the United States each state in the United States has a certain number of electoral votes assigned to it, corresponding to the total number of its senators and representatives in the House of Representatives. This number varies from state to state based on its population. For example, if we look at California, they have 55 electoral votes, while less populous states have fewer. Overall, there are 538 electoral votes available. Then we have the popular vote within the state. During the presidential elections, citizens of the United States vote for the president. However, they do not directly vote for the president. Rather, they vote for the electors of the Electoral College. These electors are typically chosen by political parties and are pledged to vote for their party's presidential candidate. The winner takes all, except in two states. Most states use a system where the candidate who wins the majority of the popular vote in a state receives all of that state's electoral votes. For example, if a candidate wins 51% of the votes in California, they will gain all 55 of the state's electoral votes. However, Nebraska and Maine use a different system, where electoral votes can be split among candidates based on results in individual congressional districts. The candidate who reaches at least 270 electoral votes out of 538 becomes the President of the United States. This means that despite there being millions of popular votes nationwide, it is the electoral votes that determine who the final winner will be. If no candidate achieves a majority of electoral votes, which is 270 as we have said, then the election for president goes to the House of Representatives. Each state has one vote, and the representatives from the state vote for the president among the top 3 presidential candidates with the highest number of electoral votes. The Senate, meanwhile, elects the vice president among the 2 vice presidential candidates with the highest number of electoral votes. This is a situation that has occurred very rarely in the history of the United States. So now, if you want to take a close look at the 2016 and the 2020 elections, we can see that what we have said till now is true, because in 2016, for example, Trump won with 304 electoral votes against Clinton, who reached just 227. But why is that? Because he achieved the electoral votes of 3 states with a total of 70,000 votes that made him win the elections. But even with these numbers, actually, Clinton had more than 3 million votes of the popular votes, more than Trump. And on the other hand, in 2020, so in the fight, let's say, between Biden and Trump, Biden won with 306 votes against Trump with 232. And in this case, Biden won both the electoral votes with 3 states who gave him 103,000 votes, and also because of the 7 more million popular votes that he was able to gain. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Filippo Giorgetti. I'm from Leone as well, and I also got the opportunity to take part in this fabulous exchange with Gonzaga High School in Washington, D.C. And during this exchange, we focused a lot on what are the main themes of politics and what politicians have to discuss about and decide on for our future. And so we'll mainly focus on 3 of these themes, which are the green transition, migrants, and war. But I would like to start with a quote from Kierkegaard. Life can only be understood backward, but lived forward. This is a quote that, in my opinion, is sharing something that is fundamental in politics. we have to learn from the past. We need to understand what we have done, where we have done something wrong, and why we have done that, not to commit that same mistake in the future. But in my opinion, that is something that is mainly forgotten in modern politics, and especially in the budget of 2025 proposed by Biden after the State of the Union. In fact, the 2025 budget preventivates $7,300 billion as a total budget, but is focusing only $22 billion on the green transition. Now, the green transition is an element that is fundamental in our future, and that is not just an element that we can invest on to get a profit, but it's something we have the necessity of resolving. And this has also been stated during the conference exchange students take part in on this last Monday and Friday, so on the 18th and 19th of March, when Paolo Gentiloni said that basically he was talking about Europe, but he made a reference more generally to all the countries in the world. Every country right now has to face as its first priority the green transition. And we can see that from the 2025 budget, the US are not addressing this element as important as they should. And they would have to invest more on this, and especially because there are three pillars on which the green transition is based, which are the social, economic, and environmental sustainability, cannot be tackled without a superpower as the U.S. in the global politics, and for how regards international communities such as the UN, and also communities that are formed by agreements, as the 2016 agreement on climate change, which, by the way, the U.S. left after Trump won the election. So this is, I would like also to discuss what has been defined by Patel and Moore in their History of the World Through 7 Cheap Things as the poster child of the shift in relationship between society and nature. In fact, we can define that the green transition is basically the interrelationship between the society and the natural part of our world. And the poster child defined by Patel and Moore as the representation of the capitalist society, and basically the relationship between the human society and the natural world, is Christophilus Columbus, who discovered the United States, the Americas, which then became the United States of America years later, and that are also now the main leading state in terms of per capita emissions. So we can see how this land has been at the center of the green transition, and in general the relationship between society and nature throughout the whole history. And as the disruption of the natural element and of the natural ecosystem that was present into the Americas when they were discovered by Columbus, was one of the elements that started a process of natural disruption in order to gain profit. So, as this element is central and has always been central in this battle, also for their role in the international community, the U.S. should be addressing more this element, this problem, and should be investing more in this factor. However, this is not just a problem of the U.S. Europe has also the need to focus more on the green transition, as well as does China and India, which are two of the three largest emission states in the world. I would like now to focus on the second theme that is, in my opinion, central in nowadays politics, which are migrants. And this theme is strictly related to the third one, which is war. In fact, due to international events, which are in part war, natural catastrophes, but in general, there is a lot of migration going on throughout the whole world. And both Europe and the US are central actors in the active migration of populations in the world. In fact, they are the two main recipients for migration in the world. And the US is mainly sustaining migration from Cuba and the Central Americas, but also from other parts of the world, which are first come and get illegally to South America and then try to cross the US border. And in my opinion, this is a problem that Europe in first place, but also the US, are not addressing well. In fact, they're both Both the policies of the European Union and the US, United States, are politics of not accepting immigrants into the states, and also not also providing aid for the countries where the states come from. In fact, we can see that the migrants from Gaza, which is one of the latest examples of war and non-human actions by a sovereign state towards another, are not well accepted in basically any state of the world. And obviously there are exceptions, but as we analyze the general politic in the world, and of which the US are an expression, we have to remind ourselves that these are all people. We should be helping people, and I think that this is a problem that everyone can share and everyone should be thinking about, and a problem that needs to be addressed more in current politics, both in the US and in Europe. And last, I would like to focus a bit on what is war, as in the last few years we have heard a lot of wars. We have heard a lot talking about wars, and we have experienced two main conflicts, which are the Ukrainian with Russia, and the Israel and Palestine conflict. And I would like to analyze I would like to get back to the budget of the United States for this, as security is the key principle that is used by the United States Congress to justify the war-making budget for basically every year till 2025. We yet don't know if the Congress will approve this budget, but starting from, and I would like to cite the example of 2022, the war-making budget was the largest in the US history, and even largest than during the First and Second World War. And this path of militarization and investment on in general, what is defined as defense by the United States, which is practically in general military expenditures. This path of military investments has led to countless global problems. And however, I would like to point out that this is not just a problem that the US are facing. There are countless states in the world that are investing over 50% of their budgets in war-making or defense industries. And however, since we're talking about the US, I think that their example is fundamental. In fact, they invest just $22 billion for the green transition, but they invest more than half of their budget for military defense and everything that has to do with basically war making. But also, this is the element they have the most profit from. And this is the part that to me is the most concerning. In fact, the whole system that is based on the war-making budget and that is supporting this war-making budget is allowed to exist just because it generates profit. The US are investing in the military because an empire such as the US needs a conflict to exist. They cannot exist without conflict. And this has been proven throughout history. All the empires have always existed only when there was a conflict. Because conflicts are the main reason for generating profit, and also are the biggest example of possibilities in terms of not wasting investments and capitals, and generating the most amount in terms of percentage, the most amount of profit. And in my opinion, if we don't change this mentality of attacking others and focusing on our defense and being always afraid of others, basically as described by Hobbes in his State of Nature, we need to solve this. We need to try a new path and find a path that is not based on a continuous conflict with others, and especially we need to invest more in problems that are such as the green transition or migrants, and focus a lot more of our attention to solving humanitarian problems in wars without investing just to generate a profit. Thank you.